His brother and a close friend were shot in the state's Leeuwenburg in Amsterdam West in 2012, which is said to have been the catalyst for the violence that followed. His crew members tried to brutally free him from his cell, while enemies just wanted to eliminate him inside the prison walls. Who is this man? Who is Omar Lkhorf? Omar Lkhorf, alias Suarez, was born in Amsterdam to a Moroccan family of 12 children. Omar is known to the police for several offenses, burglaries, theft, and receiving stolen goods. In 2010, he was charged with gun trafficking. Despite these offenses, Omar Lkhorf is an eager student at the University of Amsterdam and is in his second year of social work training. Eventually, Omar dropped his studies and joined his cousin Hussein Ait Sozan's criminal network. On December 29, 2012, Omar's brother Youssef and friend Saeed El Yazidi are murdered in the infamous shootout in the state's Leeuwenburg. In retrospect, this turns out to be the catalyst for the bloody escalation in the underworld. The double liquidation was said to revolve around a drug brawl. Probably criminal Benaouf A was the actual target, but he was able to escape the shower of bullets by jumping into the water between the houseboats on the Van Bolsapad. Presumably, like Saeed, Youssef was an errand boy of Benaouf. On the run, one of the perpetrators fired a Kalashnikov from an Audi RS4 at close range at two motorcycle officers on the Haarlemmerweg. The suspects fled in a western direction. A black Range Rover with a French license plate number was found near Wester Park. The car was riddled with bullets. Probably this is the car of the targets. Bullet holes are found in houses, cars, and even in a child's room. According to the police, it is a miracle that there were no innocent victims. Mayor Van der Laan calls the events the next day Wild West. Suddenly, the city is introduced to a new generation of ruthless criminals who do not shy away from the use of heavy firearms. In the following years, Amsterdam has to deal with several liquidations related to the state's Leeuwenburg. Benaouf A is a Moroccan from Eindhoven who allegedly masterminded the murder of Amsterdam criminal Najib Boubou in Antwerp a few months earlier. The Wild West shooting in the state's Leeuwenburg would have served as an act of revenge for the murder of Boubou. Later, Benaouf made a partial statement over the phone to the investigators. "It's a miracle I'm talking to you here, you know? Because, they fired so many bullets at me. I just thought to myself, when will the effing magazine finally be empty? I was running for my life." In revenge for the murder of his brother, Omar then plotted several assassinations. In the late summer of 2015, Naoufal F was the victim of an assassination attempt in Berlin, Germany. Omar's group had a budget of $1 million for the liquidation, also because Noffel had previously tried to liquidate members of their group. Noufal F was hiding in Berlin at the time. The Amsterdam spotter, Omar B, has seen him at a coffee shop in the chic shopping street, of which it remains unclear whether the Kurfürstendamm or the Freakstreekstrasse is meant in the messages about their PC Hofstraat or that expensive street. Noufal was seen there in a Mercedes S-Class with German license plate, which he rented under the false name he then uses more often. Omar arranges 2 Kalashnikovs and 4 Glock pistols. A man going to Germany with his family will hide them in his car and hand them over in Berlin. On August 21st and 22nd, 2015, Salim, a member of Omar's group, instructs Cedric on how to carry out the liquidation using a motorcycle. He wants driver Cedric and co-driver Tony D to both shoot. Salim: "It's better if you get off and shoot too, you understand? Your mate has to get off and not be sitting, because he has to shoot him through his head. He really has to die." Cedric: "No, my mate gets off too." Cedric wants to change first into a stolen car after the shooting, and then further down the road get into a clean getaway car, which is certainly not conspicuous. After all, it will be crowded during the day in downtown Berlin. On second thought, he also promises to shoot if he gets the chance, especially if Noffel is with other people. Salim: "If he is with 2 men, then only your friend can shoot, but he must shoot in his head. he has to be dead, dead, dead. Not thinking he's dead, but really shoot through his head when he's lying down. Cedric. We'll be alright. He's going to die. That's the whole point. He'll get a headshot anyway. Noffel will, 99% sure, reappear at the coffee shop the commanders think as written in the PGP messages on September 5th. On September 9th, they must conclude that the mission has failed. Noffel does not resurface, nor does his entourage. Cedric hides the weapons under the gas stove at the safe house and buys train tickets to return. The mission to liquidate Noffel failed. On November 7, 2015, Eaneas Lomp, a member of Gwenyt Martha's organization, was murdered in Cromony. Omar L and Isham B were the one who gave the order and the shooter, respectively. Omar ordered the gunmen to empty their magazine from a distance, through the head, arms, legs, nails, toes and balls if possible. He has a bulletproof vest, and pop him everywhere. I won't get this chance again. Lomp was allegedly shot to death by Hisham M and Nabil Amziab. Amziab himself was murdered in March 2016. At the time, that murder marked a new low in the bitter, very violent underworld war. Amziab was beheaded. His head was placed on the sidewalk near an Amsterdam shisha bar. The device that justice links to Omar, is he dead? The device allegedly used by Amziab. Brother, I emptied my 9mm pistol, on him. Furby, which is Hisham M, according to justice, ran after him with the Kalashnikov. Did they give him through his head? According to justice, Amziab replied, Lunge. I didn't manage to hit his head, brother. He ran away. He was in people's garden. Giving someone a mercy shot through the head at close range is difficult when someone is shooting at him with an AK. Hello, I don't want to die, bro. The suspects read to their relief in the media the next day that Lomp was indeed dead. On November 21st, 2015, Omar sent two hitmen, Don M and Franz H, to slaughter the brothers Shahid and Shafiq Yakhlaf in a shisha bar Le Scenario in Utrecht. The Yakhlafs had long been active in the Amsterdam criminal milieu. In the underworld feud in which many Amsterdam criminals have been murdered since 2012, they belonged to the camp of Gwenyt Martha, who was liquidated in 2014. The liquidation attempt failed, and the two criminals managed to escape. Don M and Franz H get 9 and 7 years for the failed plan to liquidate Shahid Yakhlaf and his brother Shafiq. Indeed, in the surrounding area of the Shisha Lounge, the police found 2 automatic weapons and a cap with DNA of Franz H and an earplug with DNA of Don M. It does not end with this attempt alone. Shahid Yakhlaf is still murdered on New Year's Eve 2015 by Hisham M, under the orders of Omar Lkhorf. On New Year's Eve 2015, at the entrance gate of a campground, fire was opened on brothers Shafiq and Shahid Yakhlaf. Shafiq and a third victim were wounded. More than 20 bullets were fired in the attack. Omar Lkhorf would later explain to justice after his arrest that whatever his feelings were, he at least avenged his brother. Negotiating after the job done, Hisham M asks for 70,000 euros blood money for the liquidation of Eaneas Lomp. Just under 2 months before, in Cromony, he received 60,000 euros. The commander says hitters are normally paid between 40 and 50,000 euros. In the end, he promises 75,000 euros. But if Roger asks about it, you have to say you got 50. According to the Justice Department, Roger is the second shooter, Mohammed H. from Rotterdam. On April 3, 2016, Omar Lkhorf orders the killing of Noureddine A, alias Hitler, in Amsterdam. Hitler is also believed to be in the camp of Gwenyt Martha, who was liquidated in 2014. Omar sent Mohammed H. and Zakaria Z. out to kill the rival on a scooter. The target was sitting in a dark-colored Mercedes on the Burgermeester Vening Mijnischolaan in Slotermeer, where he was taken under fire. Although the gunman used a Kalashnikov, only 3 shots were fired. Following PGP messages decrypted by a Canadian university, Dutch authorities accused Omar Lkhorf of being behind the assassination attempt on his message. I've been looking for him for years. This faggot organized the shooting in the state's Leiden bird. Hisham M allegedly observed the target, and Mohammed H and Zakaria Z allegedly fired from a white scooter with a Kalashnikov. However, Noureddine A survived the attack because the AK-47 jammed. Zakaria Z: "This AK is junk. It won't go off. I tried my best." He apologizes in another message. Effing AK didn't do it. Noffel, the Yakhlaf brothers and Hitler are said to have played important roles in the murders in the state's Leiden bird, the victims of which included Omar's brother Youssef. In June 2019, Omar and Hisham M were sentenced to life in prison. Omar Lkhorf and Hisham M, along with others, horribly murdered 2 people and attempted to murder 3 other people, stated the court. Mohammed H received 30 years in prison. Evidence of these murders came via decrypted messages from PGP phones in which the key players chatted about murders as if they were pest removal. "So that effing rat will bleed to death faster," reads one of the texts. When the judge gave his sentence in June, Lkhorf had already been transferred to another prison. In his cell in the PI in Krimpen aan den IJssel, the Amsterdam-raised criminal would no longer be safe, because enemies wanted to kill him even inside the cell walls. In the prison's prayer room, Lkhorf was attempted to be killed with a firearm smuggled inside. As mentioned earlier, Lkhorf is linked to the clan of Benaouf A. That group tried to free Benaouf from the prison in Roermond on October 11, 2017, in which Lkhorf was the main organizer. A hijacked helicopter was to be used to attempt to hoist Benaouf up from the air yard. To do this, a pilot had been flown over from Colombia to take over the helicopter if the original pilot had been overpowered during a stopover. The Criminal Investigation Department had already gotten wind of that plan and had taken over the helicopter company. The Amsterdam criminal who showed up for the romantic flight with his girlfriend was arrested. Arrest teams then set up wild chases in several places to overpower the other suspects, leading to crashes and one suspect being shot dead on the run. The suspects had heavy weapons. Like his companion, Omar also attempted to escape the prison himself in January 2020. Lkhorf had worked his way through several rooms to the fence in Zutphen prison, and the 4 French Moroccans assigned to free him had already entered the facility. After trying to grind open the last fence failed, Lkhorf tried to climb over it, but it was impossible. One of the intended liberators from the Parisian banlieues had rang the doorbell with a gift, which he then placed in the opened entrance gate. He had also kicked wedges under the gate so that it could no longer close. They drove a stolen van against the entrance gate and set it on fire with fireworks. Using concrete shears and a grinder, they tried to work their way further inside. As said, they came face to face with Lkhorf, as can be clearly seen on surveillance camera footage. They worked their way inside and tried to use a grinder to open a second door, but it did not succumb. The French suspects fled in a getaway car. After a search, during which a helicopter was used, police were able to apprehend the man. 3 of them were apprehended on the N813 near Weil and 1 near Zevenaar. Omar was immediately transferred by helicopter to the extra-secured prison, also known as EBI, in Vught, after this attempt. For their futile attempt to free Omar L from prison in Zutphen, 4 Frenchmen were sentenced to 2 years in prison. The sentence imposed on the 4 by the court in Zutphen is lower than the 4.5 years demanded by the public prosecutor, because according to the court in Zutphen, it remained only an attempt. Also because the men did not use violence against persons during the liberation action and were unarmed. In addition, the court did not find the handling of the stolen cars proven. Under current law, prisoners attempting to escape are not punishable. The Dutch cabinet finds that inexplicable and is working on a change in the law that does make it possible to punish these prisoners. Sander Janssen, Lkhorf's lawyer, argued that his client may be charged with engaging in preparatory acts for an attempted breakout. The breakout itself is not punishable, but being involved in the preliminary phase is. It is still not punishable in the Netherlands to escape from prison or to attempt to do so. This is because a person's natural urge to be in freedom is too great to make it a criminal offense. Omar has been imprisoned in the extra-secured prison in Volt since the standard attempt to break out. There he is serving his life sentence. Will he make another attempt to try to escape from there? Or is the extra security too much for him to break out? In any case, he has avenged his brother. This is the end of the story. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If so, please leave a like and comment and subscribe to our channel. As always, until the next one.